Okay, so now it's time to move past the displacement map section. So let's take a look at the assignment again. Remember, you will need to create a custom displacement map. All right, we did that. We went through all that. Once we're happy with it, yep, we did all of that. All right, the next step is recommending using Puppet Warp. Under Edit Puppet Warp and Liquefy, under Filter Liquefy, you could do touch-ups to your content layer so it matches the... Now I'm saying content layer, and technically that's correct, but that's not the content layer that you'll be turning in. The content layer you're turning in should just be, the standard pattern or image or whatever you worked on. That's fine. All right, so we can use that to edit it. So the trick for that is to use freeze masks if you're using Liquefy, and to use that fencing technique if you're using the Puppet Warp. So let's demonstrate both of those. Let's start here. This looks like a pretty good place. Now notice that this cloth clearly looks like it's just one piece that's going straight across, but in the shadows it curves under itself. So we need to create that effect. All right, so we go over to the pattern fill one, which has our pattern. And once we have our pattern fill selected, I'm going to unlink the mask so I don't accidentally edit the mask. And I'm going to go to Filter Liquefy. And now it's really hard to see what's going on because, my word, we're on just this one pattern. So we really need to change the settings so that we can view everything. So just a moment. We will go over to show backdrop. Now we can see the backdrop. We could do just one. I'm going to do all layers. I think that's the most appropriate way. We'll have our mode in front. We could blend it. We don't really want to do that. We want to have it in front, and we can just adjust it as needed. Okay. Grab the magnifying tool. Let's zoom in on the area that I said we were going to use. This is a great place to do it. So we're going to need to go slowly over with the freeze mask. So I'm going to do a whole chunk over here because I don't want to affect the whole image. I just want to affect a small part. So let me come in here, just kind of grab a chunk. All right. Now I need to be careful. Careful. All right. Careful. I am doing this with a mouse. If you have a Wacom tablet, it's considerably easier. Okay. A little too far. Up too far again. There we go. Let me zoom out. Holding down the Alt key to zoom out. Go back to my freeze mask. Okay. Careful again. Oh, a lot of it's just getting the freeze mask right. And I missed. So what happens if you miss? Grab the thaw mask. Too far. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to fill in a little bit more. Perhaps too quickly. I may have crashed my system. No, thank goodness. All right. Freeze. All right, so I just need to kind of tuck it under. I'm going to freeze a little bit more. Too much. I didn't mean to do that. Just a moment. Come back. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. All right. So we have just the area that we need to concentrate on. And if I wanted to, I could actually kind of lock it down according to the curvature of the model. Since her leg is the cylinder, I'm really just after this little area. Now I can grab the standard warp tool. Here we are. And I want it quite large. And just smoosh. 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 Smush. Smush. Okay. All right. Now before, see how it just lines up? And after, see how it tucks under? That's the effect that you're looking for. And you want to do that for all of these, and so it can take quite a while. Let me do one more so that you can once again get the idea. Let's this time work on this because it's an edge that should drop off. Let's go ahead and work over there. So I'm going to apply, and I could work on the same liquefy if I wanted by double clicking. I could also apply a second liquefy, but I'll just go ahead and work on this one. Before I do, now's a great time to save. Since liquefy got a little mad a couple of times I was working on it. And let me grab my magnifying tool and zoom in a bit. Okay. And so what do we need? In this case, we need to do two things. Push it from this side and tuck it under on that side. We're just going to kind of squish them both in. So we'll need to end up freezing it twice to do this. So let's freeze in. We'll do this one first. Careful, 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 more careful, careful. Just keep working on that. Okay. Get a big chunk so I don't accidentally warp anything I don't intend to warp. Now I can, since this is a smart object, I can always come back in here and repair it using the smooth tool to go back in time. And here we go. There we go. A little bit more. Okay, and come on in with a nice big brush. Oh, I need more freeze tool because I don't want to warp everything out over here. So let me come in and let me zoom out a little bit. And what I really should have done was just fill this whole thing with an invert and then paint it in, but such is life. Freeze mask tool. Let's make this bigger. Here we go. Oops, I may have gone a little too fast. Wait for Photoshop to catch up. Here we go. And you can see that this just takes some time. All right, everything should now be safe for, zoom in a little bit more. Zoom out a little bit, there we go, for our warp tool. And we'll just push, 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 push. All right. Let's okay it. Take a look. That looks better already. Now the next one, we want to tuck it in over here. So come back into Liquefy. Might as well use the same Liquefy filter. Oh, but wait. What do you want to do first? Save. Okay, go back into the Liquefy filter. Now I should be able to fill this whole thing. I think it's Control I. Nope, that Alt I is the image. That's not what I want. Well, shoot, I remember there being a way to do that. What is it? Oh, well. All right, well, we'll just keep filling. Zoom. Okay, so we're tucking under this time. Let me grab one more time my freeze tool. Careful, careful. This is pretty much the whole thing. You can see why I'm only going to demonstrate this twice. You would want to do this for pretty much all of the folds, and it takes a while. It is not a fast process, but I think you'll get the idea with just a little bit of work. Fill that in. Fill that in. Here we go. All right. Now I'm going to zoom in some more. And I'm going to grab my freeze tool again, my freeze mask tool. And using, the left bracket key, shrink it down considerably. I can also use the brush tool size. And you guys should be familiar with this from the Liquefy video from, about a week ago when we were doing the I believe it was the abstract art project. All right, let me grab the thaw and shrink this one down with the left bracket tool. If you need to refamiliarize yourself, the videos are, of course, available on my YouTube channel and also in the discussions on Canvas. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our forward warp tool and just tuck this under. And I'm going to do a slightly different approach. I'm actually going to pull it from the other side. Okay. Before? After. I may have overdone the warp right here, so I'd want to come back in and patch that up. The back one worked very well, though. So really the the freeze tool needed to go in a little bit further. So we can fix that, of course, by going into the Liquefy edit that we did, zooming in, grabbing the smooth tool, and just smoothing that out. And that will heal it up right away. Okay, tell it okay. That's better. All right, so now it warps around quite nicely. And again, you'd want to do that to all of the folds. You may want to do it for a little bit on some of these if you don't feel as though the displacement map did enough. And so I'll do this one last time just to show you what this last kind of effect would look like. Let me go back into Liquefy. So if you don't feel as though the displacement map did a good enough job, that's not a problem. Just a moment. Okay, I just checked my notes from a few weeks ago. There are a couple of things we could do. We could come in and, rather than freezing and thawing for the next 5 minutes, make a selection first. And then when we go into Liquefy, if it's new, it will mask it. Sure enough. And if it is old, it will, an old pre-applied one, it will also mask it. The other one is invert, which should be over here on the right. Mask options, here we are. Mask all, invert all, which would allow us to do it. So there was a way. Now I could have sworn it was Control-I, but that's not the case. All right, so now we come in. Let's say we want this to just bend down a little bit. Tell it all right. And there you go. And you can do that at all of the effects. So this is actually, can't believe I didn't remember this earlier. This is a considerably better way of doing it. Grab the magnetic lasso tool, for example, come across this edge, and then come in and, there we go. And then go into the Liquefy, and your mask will be pre-created, which will allow you to do the Liquefy much faster. So let's do that, shall we, Glasses? Sorry about that. I can't believe I forgot about the masking. Okay. And you can see how that punches in. So you'd want to do that for everywhere that makes sense. This looks fine, so I wouldn't need to do that. This would need it. Well, no, that one looks okay. Haven't even touched anything over here. There's more to do over there. This should probably be distorted down a little bit more. There we go. And so go back into the Liquefy. And then grab your big old blur. Okay. Look at that. And then just keep touching that up. It'll take a while, but you'll get there. This, for example, would be another place. This looks all right, but it could be pushed further in. So you'd come in and do that one as well. There are essentially a humongous number of places that you want to come in and do this. So gear yourself up. It's going to be probably an hour for you to go in and do all of them. I'm just going to do a couple because I think you're kind of getting the idea, I hope. It's been almost 15 minutes of liquefying, and there are a couple more techniques I want to show you. So let me come in here. My tool's too big. I think that's the direction I want to go. Okay. Yeah. See how much better that looks right away? And basically you'll want to do that for all of that and all of that, all these areas, especially around the edges. That's something I'm looking for when I'm grading, that it warps when it comes to the edges. If you don't have that, you're going to want to do that with the Liquefy. And so this would probably be a good location to do exactly that. Okay. That's better. All right. Yeah, you just keep working on it exactly like that. So now that you've got the idea of how that works, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use the Puppet Warp to do adjustments on it as well. All right. I'll see you next video.